most recent open cast coal mines have caused air pollution, not so much from the coal dust, but from the diesel fumes, from the unregulated diesel that is used 1 million litres a year in Fran. We've lost jobs because businesses that could relocate here don't, because they're frightened of the coal mine, which they see as dirty and unhealthy.
There's a massive hole in the ground. They've created a mountain on top of a mountain. Okay, it's there, it's an eyesore, but it's there. Really, I can't agree with the fact that they want to come around and do it all again. I can't honestly see their argument about coming around, destroying the part of the mountain which I played on as a kid and look at regularly. I can't see the point in ripping our place up for something which I don't think is going to be needed. The price of coal is bombed. You know, what they get back on this, I have no idea, but it can't be a great deal. Now, I believe it's going to Aberthaw down in Barry. It's going to be decommissioned, like most coal-fired stations, power stations in the country. Where the hell, what's the point?
You've all seen the Millennium Stadium on the telly. 70 million cubic metres will fill the Millennium Stadium 46 times. It's going to be 50 metres high. The hole itself is going to be 165 metres deep.
We were contacted recently by Reclaim the Power, who wanted to work with us on this and be part of a global movement. We're making the same statement around the world.
Reclaim the Power is about joining links between climate, social and economic injustices and trying to find creative ways to highlight those injustices. A lot of our actions are based around a willingness and a keenness to take direct action on those issues.
The United Valleys Action Group was set up in 2008, I believe it was.
UVAG have been very successful. We fought off the Covanta incinerator.
A company called Covanta from America decided that they wanted to put a incinerator. It was going to be the largest waste incinerator in Europe. Several action groups were formed, and as a result of that, the United Valleys Action Group was formed. I'll have to admit, up until that point, I'd never been into anything to do with the environment. Furthest from my mind.
We launched then straight into what is effectively the extension of the Fran open cast coal mine.
We was presented with a planning document that was 3,000 pages long, and we was given 28 days to understand it and formulate arguments against it and put them into the planning committee. We put together 7,000 objections on a petition, and we got together the bullet points that we needed to cover before the 28-day deadline, but then we was given an extension and put together more. To our astonishment, as the council started doing their debating on it, it was plain that the councillors themselves were against it.
The planning committee officers recommended that this open cast mine should go ahead. The county councillors who make up the planning committee took it all into account at the meeting and overwhelmingly turned the application down.
It's an Australian company which they have mines in Australia, I take it, and they obviously broke into South Wales, which I'm sure has got loads of coal, but we want to keep it in the ground now that we know about the environment, what the damage it does to the environment. Not only the environment, it's people's health as well. And my own family, and I had an uncle who had pneumoconiosis, and it wasn't a bit, he suffered greatly through it. And my own grandfather died of injuries he sustained at Fernhill Colliery in Blaenhondda.
The creation of new jobs was a bit of a misnomer. It would be a transfer of jobs from Fran to Nantlesk. So that was not at all obvious when we first knew about the application.
My own father was a miner as well. And as a child, I thought all rivers were black. Now what was happening, the colliery that my father worked at, they used to wash the coal, and the residue from the coal would be washed into the river Taff. It was only when in the miners' fortnight, when the pit would be closed down for 2 weeks, that the river eventually ran clear. I wouldn't want any other child to go through that.
They are going to appeal, and just 2 of our county councillors will be representing the committee at the appeal.
The other side, you have barristers and lawyers against our 2 councillors. I think it's rather unfair.
When this happens, then there can be costs put against the county council.
The agent, they said they would sue the council for the expenditure.
Coming together of all these groups from all over the country is so welcome to the community of Ochru and to the Rhymney Valley and to Caerphilly County Borough, that you have taken notice, and you can see when people are affected by big organisations.
End coal now! End coal now! End coal now! End coal now!
We live in the area, right? And I can't name more than 6 people that I know actually work up there. You know, and the other boys said the same. And we're all living within a 2-3 mile radius of that place. So where's the 240 jobs that they're supplying there?
The history of Merthyr Tydfil and the heads of the valleys is very much involved in coal. At one point, Merthyr Tydfil was the largest town in Wales because of all the coal and the ironmasters' activity.
Everything revolved around the pit. It isn't just the pit itself, it's the ancillary industries, lorry drivers, coach drivers. We used to get busted into work. You can imagine transport companies, engineering firms, everything revolved around the mine. Like most industrial communities, they were thriving.
We did a desktop exercise a couple of years back looking at green jobs in the Heads of the Valleys area, and just looking at 2 employment areas, we came up with over 4,000 jobs there. When you put that in, 150 jobs here, when you've got a community there of 50,000 people suffering year on year the dust and noise pollution off this mine, there's no balance being found at all with that whatsoever.
We can actually create millions of jobs that tackle climate change. We can create jobs in renewable energy, social housing building, housing insulation, in transport, bring rail back into public ownership, jobs in education and training, jobs in agriculture, in waste and water management. The list goes on and on. Not far from here, we've got hundreds of workers in the steel industry who are about to lose their jobs. The trade union movements have called for the nationalization of the steel industry. And it is a step in reclaiming ownership of the production so we can radically change it, plan it, use it to tackle the environmental crisis. Steel for wind turbine, for example.
It is widely acknowledged that we could produce twice as much energy as we use just in Wales from renewables. We get a lot of rain in Wales. We also have a very long coastline. We've got one of the highest tidal ranges in the world, and we've also got absolutely massive capacity for wind power.
Well, what about a year? Come on, what a place to put a wind farm. It would be very effective. Solar. We've got a lot of old terrace houses in here that still haven't been effectively insulated. We could be saving energy, we could be offering employment.
We've got billions of pounds in pension funds of local authority workers that are invested in fossil fuel. Manchester alone, 1.3 billion. If we divested that money, what can we invest it in?
If that renewable infrastructure is, for example, owned by our communities or owned by our local authorities, those jobs are safe and secure. It's not just one organisation, one big multinational company that is propping up the jobs in one area in Wales, as it is currently in many situations, who can just sort of disappear on a whim.
A British mining company, London-based, wanted to build a massive open-cast coal mine by forcibly displacing 120,000 people from within the area. The adjacent area have got a lot more coal, so they would have actually gone, after 30 years, they would not have paid anything to the government. All the coal would be theirs. So for 30 years there was a contract, but after 30 years they would have done anything. We had a lot of police, of course, everywhere, who were stopping people to come, and when they failed to stop people to enter the town, suddenly we heard shooting, which was actually not fired by police. We believe that the company paid the border security guards who came from the Indian and Bangladeshi border. The paramilitary forces called BDR. 3 people were shot dead immediately on spot right in front of my eyes. Over 200 people were totally injured. A man I have seen whose whole stomach came out on the street. They have cancelled the contract after the shooting because that's not what government wanted. And now the company has changed their name and they are now doing a fake business, which is illegal because they don't have any contract with Bangladesh. They don't have any other business across the world. The full body shooting happened on the 26th of August. So our target now is to go and shut them in London because enough is enough. We have put a halt to the open cast coal mine for a decade now, and we are very, very confident that we're gonna stop them forever.
We're a team for the British Transport Police and we train in protest removal. Looks to me like you're all happily moving on, which is fantastic news as far as I'm concerned. It saves us a job. The majority of the people actually did move away, leaving the hardcore of yourselves down here to sort of sit it out, which is why myself and my colleagues have been asked to come down to basically just to assist and see how it develops.
The mine began in 85, small scale, Pico and Ballo, and then Prodeco arrived. The mine began to grow. The guerrilla carried out sabotage to try and stop it. They broke machinery, kidnapped an American manager. But then in 97, the paramilitaries arrived, the AUC. Some say to protect this mine. Habían masacres en nuestro pueblo. There were massacres in our village. The guerrilla retreated, abandoning us, and many of us had to send our kids away so they wouldn't get given a gun or recruited or pregnant or worse. And after all that, Prodeco, they come to our village and they give out sweets and fizzy drinks to the kids. and they talk about good faith as if we should accept everything they say without protest. They have a long-term plan to move our village. Es si como fuéramos una ganadería que se puede mover como quiera. It's like we were cattle that they can move around as they wish. But we are learning how to say no. We stopped them diverting our river. But here, 1 minute, I'm nearly finished. You can't say no alone. We heard about Hernando the fisherman being shot by the paramilitaries. Here, fighting that coal mine, we have to say no together. Together. No! Ya basta! Ya basta! In solidarity with the people in Colombia fighting open cast mines and 55,000 people displaced by the paramilitaries, 2,700 people killed by paramilitaries, over 500 people killed in massacres by far-right groups. Every life, a ray of sunshine, now buried in this troubled earth. Each lump of coal, buried sunshine, now taken from this bloody earth.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Joe Jones. I'm Chief Inspector of South Wales Police. You're committing a criminal act, and I'm directing you to leave land now. If you don't, you may be liable for arrest.
But if we leave now, we're okay.
If you leave now immediately, you'll be okay.
You alright? You alright? There you go.
So don't slip over the...
You sure?
Yeah, just go take my phone.
7.
Yeah, I'm okay.
I think we can...